In this video, I'm going to be talking about the ZwoBot Blender device. ZwoBot is a suite of Max for Live devices that you can use to create visuals inside Ableton. Version 3 of ZwoBot has just recently been released, November 2024, and one of the big updates is some new features for this Blender device. So I have done a video on this before, but I'm just going to go over some of the new features and what's changed on it in this video. I've got the old version of the Blender here, so we can compare them side by side and look at what's changed and what's different. I've got these two videos loaded into my video decks here, and what the Blender device does is it will allow you to blend between the two video decks in a variety of ways, but it will also allow you to blend a video with an effect on it with the same video without an effect on it. Here you can see we've got FX blend, then we've got this fader, then we've got deck A, deck B, and this says blend order. You can't see it when it's on yellow. FX blend, that is referring to the video with an effect on it. I've got this deform module, I'm just going to turn that on. We can see now video deck A has the deform effect applied to it. So this effects blend is referring to what you're seeing here, the video with the effect on it. So that's at the top of the signal chain within this Blender device. And then here we can fade between that and either deck A or deck B. It's currently set to deck A. What that means is I'm able to fade between this video with the effect on it and this video without an effect on it. And if I changed this to deck B, what it would do is blend this video with an effect on it with deck B without an effect on it. So it gives you options to bring in your videos without, if you don't want them to have any of the effects on it, you can do it using this. And then if you press this, it'll change the signal chain. So instead of the video with the effect on being at the top, it'll just have the unaffected video on top. So now I can blend deck B with no effect with deck A with the effect. So that just changes the kind of order. You're getting the clean video up here, and then you're fading it with the version with the effects on it. And these colours you're seeing yellow and blue are used here. The yellow represents the video that has the effect applied to it, and the blue represents the unaffected video, the clean video. So that's why this is all yellow at the moment, because we're seeing the video with the effect. And when you're seeing blue now, this is the video without the effect. And which video you want to be the clean version, you can choose from down here. So let's look at some examples of how you might want to use this. Let's say I want to have the text effect, and I want another effect to be applied to the text, but I don't want that effect to be applied to the video. Let's say this deform effect, for example. Let's say I want the deform effect applied to the text, and then I want the video underneath it, but I don't want the deform effect to be applied to the video. We can achieve that using this Blender module. So I need to bring in the ABC device. Let's bring in version 3. And in my main signal chain on the ZwoBot player here, I know I need it to be underneath the deform effect because I want the deform effect to be applied to the text. So I'm going to put it underneath that. I'm going to switch it on. We're not seeing it because I've got the Blender module set to show deck B with no effect, so it's kind of blocking these effects because all we're seeing is this clean version of deck B. So in order to see the effects, I need to do this and get my effects signal chain showing. Here we have got the text and we've got the deform module, but we're not seeing the video because this text effect just has a black background. So we need to basically get rid of this black, and the way we can do that is in the Blender device. I can choose a blend mode if I go to this blending option, and then I can select different blend modes to choose how I want to bring in the video underneath it. So lighten works. How well these blend modes work will depend on the colors in the specific effects and videos that you're using. In this case, it's just black, so just a solid black background is quite easy to eliminate. So I can use the lighten mode. I think if I use alpha, it'll also work. If you don't want the background, but you want the text to be filled with the video, you can use Luma or Multiply. There we go, I can do this. So if I set it to a lighten mode, that's taking this ABC effect and the deform effect, and it's blending it with deck B, which is not being affected. And if I wanted to use deck A instead, I just switch that to deck A. So that's an explanation of how the Blender module works, but there's all these different ways that you can actually blend between the effects signal and the video decks, and these blend modes is how you do that. We've got transitions. These were all here previously. They were in this drop-down menu before, whereas now they're here in this transitions section. By default, it's just a straightforward fade, but we can also wipe between them. On the different axes, we can have a scaled wipe, a door wipe. So there's all these different transitions. This is nothing new, it's just they're in a different place now. We've also got this blending section. This is basically what was down here. This is your standard blend modes. This will blend between the two video decks using the normal ZwoBot blend modes. And speaking of blend modes, you may notice that we've got some extra ones here, and this is a new feature of ZwoBot V3. There's around 5 or 6 new blend modes, and this isn't just on the Blender module, this is on every single module. So if I just switch to a different Ableton set here, I'll be able to demonstrate that. Here I've got this logo image loads into my video deck, and I'm just going to use these two devices to demonstrate these new blend modes. So if I turn this noise device on, this is a new device, I'll be doing a separate tutorial on this, but this just creates these black and white patterns. If I put on the effects dark mask, that is taking out the dark parts of the effect. So in this case, it's just a black and white pattern, so it's taking away all those black parts, so we're seeing the visual underneath through the dark parts. And then FX bright mask does the opposite, so it's taking away the white parts of the effect. So that's FX dark mask and FX bright mask. So to demonstrate the other new blend modes, I'm going to use this color device, so I'll just switch that on. Dark mask is going to apply the effect to the darker parts of the image. So you can see in this case it's being applied to the black parts, and then bright mask will apply the effect to the brighter parts of the image. So now it's applying it to these bright grey parts. So that's what dark mask and bright mask do. And then we've got this Luma one, which is more to do with colours and the luminosity of the visual. Then we've got key in. This was on the right hand side of the module before, but those options are still there. So that's all the stuff that was there before. The thing that is new is this join effects option. So what this allows you to do is blend the videos via an effect. Let's use this new noise device. We connect it the same way we connect things to the player, so click the logo and I can select noise. The way this join effects blend mode works is it'll map the darker parts of the effect to deck A and the lighter parts of the effect to deck B. So in this case I'm using the noise device, and that just creates a black and white pattern, so we can see very clearly we've got the white parts of the pattern showing deck B, and the black parts of the pattern showing deck A. This dry and wet style you can basically use to tweak the effect a bit, so you can change how it appears. It's not really a fade, but you can just move it around to tweak how it looks. Now, if you're using a different effect, which isn't just creating straightforward black and white patterns like this one, it's going to work a bit differently because it's based on colors. So if it's not straightforward black and white, it might not be as effective. And that's where this force button comes in. So what the force button will do is make the effect black and white, and that will allow it to blend more effectively. So I'll demonstrate this using another device. Let's use Candy. Now we are blending these videos together using the Candy effect, but it doesn't look like it's doing that much. It's pretty much just like a normal fade. So if I click the force button, that's going to turn this Candy effect into just being black and white, which means we can get more of an effect here. So basically, if you're not getting the desired effect with the force button turned off, just click it on. So yeah, we can just look at what this looks like for different effects. Let's try it with flow scan maybe. There we go, and obviously you can still change the parameters of the effect. So this is what the flow scan effect is doing if we just have that on. It's basically taking that effect and using it to blend in deck B. And we can see what it looks like with the drift module. There we go, so where we're getting the drift effect coming in, that's where we're seeing deck B getting blended in. And again, if I click this blend order button, it's going to swap it around, so now we're getting deck B and deck A is being blended in. These black and white buttons, I think you only need to use those for certain effects. So if you're not getting the desired effect with this effects button on, you can try using black and white instead. It'll basically create a black texture or white texture.